Hello, friends. This is a daily core exercise that you can do really every day to help strengthen your core, your stability, which is kind of the foundation of all movement, but also if you're bottoming for a rope, really important to be able to engage your core for suspension. And yeah, it's just nice to have a strong core. So for this class, if you have sore wrists, I would recommend blocks or having a hard surface to place your hands. We're going to start by warming up your wrists. So start first by sitting on your seat. Plant your hands behind you. Try not to have too much bend in your elbows. You want to try pushing your hands down through the ground. And then you're going to scoot your butt forward until you feel stretch along this part of your wrist. So scoot your butt as far forward as you need to until you feel that stretch. And then just breathe into the stretch here. Feel those muscles lengthening. All right, now you're going to try to push your hands into the ground with maximum effort. Push down as hard as you can without changing the placement of your seat. Keep pushing down into the ground as hard as you can. And you're going to leave your seat in this position. Now try to lift your fingers off the ground. They probably won't lift. That is super normal, but we're just going in the direction of trying to lift. You might feel cramps in the backs of your knuckles. That is okay. Keep trying to lift for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Come out, scoot your butt back. Ooh, you can shake that out. So just loaded the tissues on the inside of your wrist. Let's do outside of your wrist now. So kneel and make fists. You're going to connect the fists and land the backs of your forearms on the ground. Once you're here, start to lengthen your arms and then bend them back down. We're just going to bob in and out of this a few times. The key here is to not let your fingers come out of these fists, so keep squeezing the fists as hard as you can. Good. When you find that you're starting to warm up, we're going to find your longest arm position possible while keeping your hands in fists. Breathe here, feel the lengthening of those tissues. And now we're going to push into the ground. So push the backs of your hands into the ground as hard as you can. Should be big sensation, but not pain. Just find that edge of sensation. Good. Keep breathing. Now keep your arms at this length. You're going to try to curl your fists in even more, as if you could get the backs of your hands to touch. They probably won't, but keep trying. Try to pull the backs of your hands together without changing the length of your arms. For another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. Nice job. Come on out. You can shake that out, spirit fingers that out. Next, we're going to take your wrist through its full range of motion. So oftentimes your elbow and your shoulder want to help with that. We're going to trap that and prevent any compensation from happening in your elbow and shoulder. So I like to put my leg out, trap my elbow against my thigh, and then my other hand is going to grab my forearm. The inside of my forearm is facing up, and this is going to prevent my forearm from helping twist my hand. All of this motion is coming just from your wrist. So trap, trap, pull your fingers towards your face, and then spread them as wide as they can. You want to keep your fingers as wide as possible throughout this whole movement. And then start to make the most dramatic and exaggerated wrist circle that you can possibly do. We're going to do 3 in one direction, then 3 in the other. Let this only come from your wrist. Don't let your forearm twist. Don't let your elbow twist or your shoulder. When you finish 3 in one direction, make sure your fingers are still spreading wide. Switch to the other direction. 2 and 3. Good. Just try this. Sometimes you can feel a difference right away between your 2 wrists. Try circling both. and just feel if one feels a little bit more fluid and open than the other. And then let's get your other wrist. So trap your elbow against your thigh, grab your forearm so that it's not trying to help, pull fingers towards your face, spread them wide, and then take 3 big dramatic circles coming just from the wrist. When you finish 3 in one direction, switch to the other direction. 2 and 3. Nice job. Great. So wrists are warmed up, which is going to be helpful for the core exercises we have coming up. One other thing I'd like us to warm up is pelvis and making sure you understand good pelvic position. So lay on your back with your feet planted, and you can bring your hands to your hips or just have them off to the side, whatever feels more comfortable. I find it's nice to have on my hips so I can feel my pelvis moving. So we're going to start by arching your back quite a bit. What that's going to do is tip your pelvis down, like your tailbone is trying to plant into the ground. And then you're going to try flattening your back as you tip your pelvis up. Your tailbone might rise up off the ground slightly. I hope you can see that okay. So pelvic rock backwards and forwards. You can do a few more just to loosen things up with your pelvis. And then next time your pelvis is tipping up like this, I want you to try to be light with your feet and see if you can think about your lower ribs and your upper part of your hip bones pulling together to create tension on the front side of your core. And then as you're tipping backwards, think about lengthening the space between hips and ribs. So again, I'm not really using my feet. I'm using the strength of my core to pull it all in, and then to let it come back down. I'm relaxing my core. Good. Just see if you can feel that difference of using your core muscles to shorten on the front side of your body and then lengthen, relax. When we're holding these core positions for the next exercise, I want you to think about avoiding arching your back. Try to think about tucking your tailbone just slightly, and that there's good tension on the front of your body. Hips and ribs are pulling towards one another, almost like you've got 2 little elastic band suspenders pulling them in and holding tension. You can try to see how this feels with a little bit of load. So first get into position, slightly tucked, back is flat on the ground, then lift one foot up and the other. If you notice that your back started to arch right away, think about pulling the front side of your body closer together with the strength of your core. And then seeing if you can't quite get it, bring your knees in closer to your chest. If this feels okay, you might try extending one leg, make sure that your low back stays on the ground, and then maybe the other. Cool. Okay, we are going to start what is lovingly called 7 minutes in heaven. I'll guide you through the 7 different exercises that we hold for 1 minute. There'll be variations to try. If you need to come down during the minute to take a little rest, do that. I don't expect anyone to do the full 7 minutes right out the gate. You should come back to this video and try it again day by day to track your progress and your core strength. So the timer will start in 10 seconds. We're starting with a regular plank. So if you have blocks, use those, or you can use a hard surface on the floor. 3, 2, 1. Press into the floor. Step your feet back. Tuck your pelvis slightly and push the floor away so that your shoulder blades separate. And squish your heels back as far as you can. Should be full body tension throughout your body. And you're thinking about shortening the core here. Another variation would be to take your knees. If you do take your knees, try not to have your butt stick out. Think about tucking your tailbone so that you have this nice flat back. You're more than halfway done. Good job. almost there. If you need to take a break, take a break. There's 15 more seconds. And then we're moving into a side plank. Side plank can be left or right hand to start, you choose. We're going there in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So side plank you could just roll into. Sometimes there's the cross leg version or the legs on top version. People like to reach an arm up. This doesn't feel accessible in your wrist or in your body. You can try coming down to knees. Think about pressing your pelvis forward as you come into the side plank. And then again, if it's sore on your wrist, you can come down to a forearm and lift up into side plank on the forearm and knees, or side plank on the forearm and feet. Think about lifting your hip up towards the ceiling and crunching the side obliques here. There's only 20 more seconds left, and then we go to the other side. This is hard stuff. You're doing so good. Last 8 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Other side. Let's come on up into the version that you're choosing to do. Think about pressing your hips forward in space. You can try stacking your shoulder over your wrist. If you want, you can reach an arm up in the air. Breathe. Already 30 seconds in, halfway through. Think about how your energy levels are. If you need to take it down to your knees or to your forearm, do that. Just think about continuing to lift your side body up into the air, pressing your hips forward so that you're not sitting your butt back at all. Keep pressing your hips forward in space. 10 more seconds and we move into a forearm plank. That's just a regular plank on your forearms in 4, 3, 2, 1. Find forearm plank. So try to get your elbows underneath your shoulders. And then again, tuck your tailbone so that you are engaging the front side of your core. Whew, breathe here. You're already 15 seconds in. Good job. If you need to drop your knees, remember not to stick your butt back. Think about tucking your tailbone, squeezing your butt in so that you have a nice flat back. 30 seconds. You're halfway through. Sometimes it helps to just think about nothing or use your methods for how you like to pass time when you're maybe suffering a little bit. In 9 seconds, we're going into a superhuman hold. So that's going to be on your front body. You're going to start to press your pubic bone down into the mat in 3, 2, 1. Pubic bone goes into the mat. Lift yourself up, and then you can bring your hands forward. I like to think about zipping up my inner leg line. Your legs don't have to touch, but that just helps with some added engagement. And then you can pinch your shoulder blades behind your back. If you're feeling extra super, reach your hands forward. If your shoulders do get tired, you can bring them down for a moment and then bring them back up. You can also bend your knees if that feels more accessible. More than halfway through. Only 22 seconds to go. All right, 15 more seconds. Our next shape is the hollow body shape. So it's kind of like a banana. You're going to roll onto your back in 9 seconds. And make sure that your low back stays flat to the ground for this one. In 3, 2, 1. Roll onto your back. So a full version of hollow body looks like low back on the ground, legs nice and low and together, hands up and overhead. But the variations, you can start from curling your head, neck, and shoulders up, keeping your chin tucked in, knees bent at 90 degrees, and reach forward with your arms. Low back stays on the ground. You can experiment with extending one leg and then maybe the other. You can try extending both legs up high and starting to lower them until you feel your low back start to creep up off the ground. You can experiment with Trying all varieties of these as you're in this shape. There's only 15 more seconds left. And then we go into a reverse plank. Okay, reverse plank in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Point your hands in any direction as they come behind you. Zip up your leg line and then press your hips up towards the ceiling. If this feels not sustainable quite yet, you can come into reverse tabletop. Press your feet on the ground, lift your hips up, drop your head back. And if this is too much for your shoulders, there's also sunbather. So hands reach back as far as possible. Puff up your chest and then drop your head back. Find the version that works for you. Almost done. 30 more seconds. Fifteen more seconds. Keep squeezing your butt and the midline of your back body up. Another 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down. Nice job. So that is 7 minutes in heaven. You survived it. This is something that you could do every day. If you do this exercise class every day, your wrists will get stronger, more able and flexible, and your core will get very, very strong. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day, friends.